Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year, George.
Happy New Year. Wish everybody a happy and healthy New Year. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay. This is the January 1st, 2020 reorganization meeting of the Wyckoff Township Committee. First thing on the agenda today is a presentation of colors by the Wyckoff Volunteer Honor Guard, so they could come forward if they like.
Right here.
Thank you. For the flag salute, I'd like to ask Brian, Matthew, and TJ Shanley to come forward, Jillian and Lucas Rubenstein, and Ben and Simone Fisher,
Township Committee.
and the Township Committee. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Thank you. If you could stay standing, please. Father Stephen Victor from St. Elizabeth is with us today, and he has a wonderful celebration today. This is his 20th anniversary of being ordained as a Catholic priest. So, Father, would you like to come forward?
Thank you. Let us begin this meeting with deep gratitude in our hearts as we turn to Almighty God, praying for all of our council members, all of the volunteers, all the police and fire department. We pause now in silent prayer of gratitude. Dear and gracious God, we thank you for all of the blessings which you bestowed upon our township during 2019. We thank you for all of the many volunteer hours of all the good women and men in our township who have served us so well. We thank you for the service of Tom Madigan serving as our mayor during this past year. And we thank you for Tim Shanley as he begins his service in leading our community. We thank you for all of the council members, all of the staff here at our Borough Hall. We thank you for so many different men and women who serve us so well. May you bless each and every one of our fire department, police, EMT, everyone who serves our community in any way, shape, or form. May this new year, this third new decade of this third millennium, may it be a year filled with abundant blessings for all of us, blessings of peace and kindness and collaboration as we continue to make our community the shining light that it is throughout Bergen County. And in a special way, Lord, as we thank you for each one of these people, in a special way I'd like to mention Bob Shanley as he celebrates his 35th year here as our town administrator. Bob Shannon as our town administrator. We thank you for all of his hard work and dedication that he served our community so well. And we ask you, Lord, to continue to bless him and bless all of us. And we ask this in your name, for Lord, forever and ever.
Amen. Thank you very much. If everybody could remain standing, please. Alicia Joan Delaney, Alicia's the sister-in-law of Tim Shanley, and she'll sing God Bless America for us today.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans, white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, everybody have a seat, please. I'm going to read the Open Meeting Act. This reorganization meeting of the Township Committee of the Township of Wykoff is now in session. In accordance with Section 8 of the Open Public Meeting Act, I wish to advise that notice of the meeting has been posted in the lower level of Town Hall since December 20th. A copy of the notice has been filed with the town clerk. Copies were sent to the Ridgewood News, Bergen Record, and North Jersey Herald and News. All papers with general circulation throughout the Township of Wykoff. At this time, I'd like to recognize the former mayors or their spouses, and if you could stand, please. Mr. Gordon Stanley. Mrs. Betty Vanderplaat. Mr. Christopher DePhillips. Mr. Rudy Boonstra. And Mr. Thomas Madigan. I didn't miss anybody. No. Well, thank you all for all your years of service and your contributions to the township. Thank you. Okay, now I have the honor of swearing Rudy in as Township Committee. You gonna stand over here?
We'll stand here, yeah, we'll stand by the flag. Before we start though, I asked Joyce to administer the oath of office to me today, because as many of you know, and some may not know, Joyce has announced her retirement as municipal clerk in June. And she has 31 years of service here in Wykoff, so this will be her last reorganization meeting. Joyce and I arrived in Town Hall within about a month of each other. You became the clerk in, I think, October of '88, and I took a seat on the Zoning Board of Adjustment in January of '89. So we've been here about the same time, 31 years. She became planning board secretary in October of '88. So this is your last meeting. And I never say never, but there's a possibility that this may be the last time I'll take this oath of office, and I wanted you to administer it to me.
Thanks, Rudy.
It's an honor, so am I. So I really thank you, Joyce. Just a little bit of history. Joyce became clerk in 1994 as municipal clerk. She has served 25 township committees and 13 different mayors, some of whom are here tonight who we just recognized. So I don't have a plaque or a presentation. We'll get to that later on, okay? But just a heartfelt thank you, Joyce, for all your years, and thanks once again. Thank you.
And all of you have been wonderful. It's been wonderful with working with everybody and getting to know everyone, and thanks. Thank you. Thanks, Rudy.
Okay.
Okay, so you're gonna hold the Bible, left hand on the Bible, raise your right hand, and after I say aye, you're gonna say aye.
I, Rudy Boonstrip,
Do solemnly
do
swear
solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United
of the
States
United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the State of New
of the
Jersey,
State of New Jersey,
and that I will bear true faith
and I will bear true faith
and allegiance to the
and
same,
allegiance to the same,
and to the governments established
and to the governments established
in the United
in
States
the United States
and in this state,
and in this state,
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
so help me God.
so help me God.
And I
And I, Rudy Boonstrip,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully,
that I will faithfully,
impartially, and
impartially, and
justly
justly
perform all the duties
perform all the duties
of the office of
of the
Township
office of
Committee
Township Committee
according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my ability,
and that I will not use my office
that I will not use my office
to grant preferential treatment,
to grant preferential treatment,
nor to seek personal gain,
nor to seek personal gain,
favor, or advantage
favor, or advantage,
not available to the public.
not available to the public.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. High screen.
Perfect. Thank you.
I'll get one with Joyce. Oh, absolutely. One with just Joyce and me. Nope, just Joyce and I.
Thank you.
If you add them together, that's 62 years, right?
That's a long time. Thanks, thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, what I'd like now from the committee is a nomination for 2020 Township Committee Chairman.
Thank you, Joyce.
You're welcome.
Let me, give me a minute to put
Okay,
my sign up.
Okay.
Thank you, Joyce. Tim Shanley moved to Wyckoff in 2008 with his lovely wife, Melissa. Here they are raising their three sons, Brian, Matthew, and TJ, who are here with us today. All three attend the Wyckoff schools of the boys. Tim has always been interested in community service, beginning in Clifton, where he grew up, actually. Here in Wyckoff, he was appointed to our Design Review Board in January of 2014, and he served as chairman. In 2015, Tim was appointed to a seat on the Wyckoff Zoning Board of Adjustment. In December 26, when then Mayor Kevin Rooney left to fill an unexpired term in the State Assembly, Tim was selected by the County Committee and the Township Committee to fill his vacancy. As such, Tim was sworn in to his first term on the Township Committee on January 1st, 2017, a one-year expired term. He then had to run twice to be seated here today with us. He ran successfully in November 2017 for an unexpired term, and again in November 2018 for his first full term. So Tim is a proven popular vote getter who's in the second year of a three-year term. Tim has had various committee assignments while on the Township Committee. Most notably, however, was in 2019 when he was Fire Commissioner and Chairman of the Fireworks Committee, where he was able to preserve Wyckoff's annual Labor Day fireworks tradition. So we thank you for that, Tim. In the community, he has also served as a trustee of the Wyckoff Education Foundation, as an officer in St. Elizabeth's Knights of Columbus, and as a coach for his son's recreation sports teams. And one aside, he has a corner lot that's one of the best locations in town for campaign signs. Trust me, I know. Okay? So, Madam Secretary, it's with great pleasure and confidence that I nominate Tim Shanley for mayor in 2019.
Okay, thank you.
2020.
Thank you.
2020.
Thanks, Rudy. Okay, who'd like to make a second?
I would like to second.
I'll take a roll call. Mr. Boonstra?
Yes.
Mrs. Fisher?
Yes.
Mr. Madigan?
Yes.
Mrs. Rubenstein?
Yes.
Mr. Shanley?
Yes.
Congratulations.
I had to just move the microphone up a little bit, but it's good. Thanks, Tom. It's truly a blessing to be here today. If you would have told me when I moved to town I'd be sitting in this seat, I would have called you a liar. I could have never seen it coming. I'm truly humbled by the nomination of me and the vote by the Township Committee and having faith in me to serve as the mayor. I'm looking forward to it. And as I've always said, I just want to make Wyckoff better than it was when I started. So that is my end game with being mayor here. I just want this great town to be even better by the time I'm finished with my term. So thank you for the vote of confidence, and I want to thank my family who's here today. I have my loving wife here, my three boys, Brian, Brian, Matthew, and TJ. And I guess I have my lovely sister-in-law, Alicia, and her husband, my brother-in-law, Josh. I have my sister-in-law, Megan, with her children. I have Callie, Chloe, and Christopher behind them. And I have my mother-in-law and father-in-law, Susan and Joe Vitale. And I see my father-in-law, John Callahan, here as well. So I have, and Sue Callahan is here as well. So thank you. I didn't see you come in. So thank you for joining in this celebration today. I really appreciate it. And Rudy brought up on how I got here. It was a pleasure to serve on the Design Review Board, but one of the other people that was in that decision is here today too, our Assemblyman Krista Phillips. Rudy and Chris met me at the Starbucks across the street about filling a vacancy on the Design Review Board, and that was started by Haken Jepson, who was my cornerstone brother at Team 19 at St. Elizabeth's. When he was on the Township Committee, he approached me and said, "Tim, I think you would be great on one of our boards. Would you be interested?" He gave me the volunteer application, and I filled it out. And then Krista Phillips and Rudy met me over at the Starbucks, and I remember them asking me if I had any, dreams or aspirations of sitting on this dais, and I told them I did not, and they made a liar out of me. So, because when it came time for a seat on this, they asked me if I would do it. And Rudy is right. I've always been about community service, giving back to my community, and I saw this as an opportunity to do it, and that's why I did it. And then I had to run for 2 terms, an unexpired term and then a full term. So I figured, because I'm not being sworn in, it's the first time at the reorg meeting that I'm not being sworn in, I figured I might as well become mayor. So thank you. Thank you all, and thank you all for being here at the reorganization meeting. I want to thank this is the first reorg meeting in our renovated courtroom. As you can see, it was beautifully redone with energy efficient windows, the seal of Wyckoff behind us, a great paint job. The carpet's been replaced, and this was all done by Scott Fisher and the DPW. So I want to give a big round of applause to Scott Fisher. And Diana McLeod, who works in our in the building, she was the one who picked out all the colors and didn't rely upon the mayor to pick out the colors. So,
That's why it looks so nice.
exactly. So, no, so it's very well done. So I just want to give them the thanks. I also want to thank our fire department, who is here today. A number of the officers are going to be sworn in today. It was my pleasure to serve as your fire commissioner last year. So thank you for welcoming me in to the firehouse. It was my best assignment of my 3 years in serving on that. And I want to thank them for all their service. They had 651 fire calls this year, which is a lot for a non-storm year. I mean, they had more in the storm years, but those were because they had like 10 on a single day. But to have it in a non-storm year, and they fought a number of active fires, and one of them was at the Most Blessed Sacrament Church, which a number of my family members are parishioners at. So I thank you for trying to save that place where Melissa and I got married. It's a great church. Unfortunately, it was beyond being saved because by the time it was reported, it was fully engulfed in flames. But thank you for making the attempts. And I know some of the fire department saved across some of the Bibles and some of the religious matters that were not burned, and they brought them over to the rectory. So thank you for everything you do. I also want to thank the ambulance corps, because I served as the ambulance corps liaison, and the ambulance corps the volunteers on the ambulance corps do a wonderful job. They had 1,114 ambulance calls this year. Think about it. That's a lot of calls for the ambulance drivers, the EMTs that have to come out and do that. So if you ever get a request for donations for the ambulance corps, know that they're here for you in your worst time of need to get you to the hospital, and they do a great job. So thank you to the ambulance corps. I also know our police chief is here, Dave Murphy. He does a great job for our police department, and his leadership has made our police department one of the best police departments in the state of New Jersey. So thank you, Dave Murphy. I want to thank the volunteers that serve as our rec coaches for our rec department. They do quite a good job of coaching our children in all sports, from football, basketball, softball, baseball. It's just a tremendous job. So any of the volunteers here, thank you for that. All our board members that serve on our zoning board, our planning board, our health board, library board, trustees of the Zabriskie House, trustees of the Gardens of Wyckoff, and all other boards in town, the health board. Thank you for your service, because your volunteer service on those committees helps make this township the great township that it is. And I want to just recap, and thank you, Tom Madigan, for serving as our mayor last year. We had a very good year in 2019, and I want to just bring up some of the highlights of what we did as a township committee in the township. One was saving the tradition of the fireworks. It was very well done by our community. We had great contributions that we received from Larry and Sarah of ShopRite and Giuseppe Cassio of Lakeland Bank. That's what got the ball rolling, because I had set up that committee for 2020 to bring them back, but having Giuseppe Cassio get us the money that we needed just to have the fireworks turned out to be a blessing, and we really appreciate that, and we were able to preserve it, and we did not miss the fireworks even for a year. And we saw exactly why the fire department could not utilize that anymore as a fundraiser, but because it was such a tradition in Wyckoff, they still helped us, which we needed their help, and the ambulance corps, to pull off that fireworks, and we're going to need them again this year. And the fireworks committee is already at work for the 2020 fireworks, and my wife serves on that with me, which made the fireworks a great day in September. So thank you. The Township Committee in 2019 also approved a 5-year lease for the the PTO to utilize the Economy Shop on Main Street. It's a great organization that helps out raise money for the PTOs for all of the Wyckoff schools. So it was a pleasure for us to give them another lease for another 5 years. They do a great job to raise money. We also created a Historic Preservation Commission. I want to thank Rudy Boonstra for spearheading that. That will help us preserve some of the historic gems in Wyckoff. So that commission is actively working in order to preserve some of the historic sites in Wyckoff. We also had online services increase for our residents to complete permits and other business transactions online, so you don't have to come to town hall for those transactions, so that was a good thing. Sustainable New Jersey awarded Wyckoff the Silver Star for the 3rd time, so I want to thank our Environmental Commission and the volunteers that serve on that, especially Beth Fisher, who is now sitting up here on the dais. She had a lot to do with Wyckoff getting that Silver Star status for a 3rd straight year. The Wyckoff Police Department also got platinum status from AAA for community pedestrian safety. So that was a great job again by our police department in getting that reward. Rutgers and the League of Municipalities also recognized Wyckoff for its public information program for calendars, social media, and its website and its newsletters. So that was thank you to Bob Shannon. Bob Shannon does a great job of making everybody up here on this dais look good, and I think you do a great job. So Bob Shannon, thank you so much.
Mr. Mayor, thank you very much. It's a team effort. Everyone in town hall works very diligently on it.
Yes, thank you. It keeps us open to the public, and people can go on our website and look at our social media posts to know what is happening, and it keeps us an open government, so thank you. Part of what Bob Shannon does too is he puts together the newsletter that can get sent out to any of our residents. We're up to 5,927 people getting our newsletter, which is up about 149 from last year, which is a great thing. So anybody wants to be on that newsletter, you just have to give us your email and you'll get the newsletter, which will tell you the updates on what's happening in town. We also received an Innovation in Governance Award from the League of Municipalities for the 12-point entry access program, a comprehensive approach to transparency. That is another thing that Bob Shannon did a great job on, so we have an open government, so thank you, Bob. And in closing, I do want to recognize Father Stephen, who is here today, so thank you for coming, and congratulations on your 20 years of serving as a priest. And you do a great job at St. Elizabeth's, and I always enjoy your sermons, so thank you. And with that, I'm done with my comments. So I know I'm usually short, but sometimes lawyers and people in politics get a little worried. But again, thank you, and thank you again to Krista Phillips, our Assemblyman, for somehow getting me involved. And part of what I'm here, the reason I'm up here is because of you. Thank you. Joyce, I think we're ready for the consent agenda.
Okay, thank you. All matters listed below are considered by the Township Committee to be routine in nature. There'll be no separate discussion of these items. If any discussion is desired by the Township Committee, that item will be removed from the consent agenda. Resolutions. Number 1, procedure for Township Committee members to chair meetings in chair's absence. Be it resolved until further policy is established that the Township Committee chairman shall request one member of the Township Committee to chair a Township Committee meeting which the Township Committee chairman is not able to attend. Township Committee liaison assignments. Chairman Timothy E. Shanley. Mayor, Planning Board, Police Commissioner, Library, YMCA Lease Liaison, Memorial Turf Project, Fireworks Committee Chairman, Shade Tree Liaison and Utilities. Thomas J. Madigan, Finance Co-Chairman, Deputy Police Commissioner, Personnel Committee, Recreation and Parks Liaison, Memorial Field Turf Project, Memorial Day Parade, Sewer Committee, Ramapo Indian Hills Liaison, and Fireworks. Rudy Boonstra, Department of Public Works Road Commissioner, Planning Board, Sewer Commissioner, Engineering and UCC, Historic Preservation, Environmental Commission Liaison, Court Liaison, and Zabriskie House. Melissa Rubenstein, Fire Commissioner, Finance Co-Chairman, Zoning Board Liaison, Fireworks Committee, Zabriskie House, Personnel Committee, and Larkin House. Elizabeth Fisher, Historic Preservation, Board of Health, K-8 Liaison, Ambulance Corps, Safety Committee, Design Review, and Gardens of Wyckoff. Fire Department Officers for 2020. Fire Chief Timothy Brock, Fire Department Assistant Chief Joseph Vanderplatt, Fire Department Administrative Officers Paul Casbian and Thomas Rizzu, Fire Department Safety Officers Dave Murphy, Company 1 Battalion Chief Scott Amatea, Captain James Viapano, Captain Brian Miller, Lieutenant Joseph Alvarez, Lieutenant Patrick Alvarez. Company number 2, Battalion Chief Christopher Joachim, Captain Ed Lawler, and Company 3, Battalion Chief Matthew Tanney, Captain Jesse Levine, Lieutenant Austin Espy, and Lieutenant E.J. Pruitt. Fire Prevention Officers Fred Depkin, and Mandate Compliance Officers Carl Koffler. The Fire Police Chief is Robert Kehoe, Captain Joseph Salerno, Captain John Harrington, Captain Peter Tanney, Robert Buono, Russ Hoffs, Ken Dyer, Jack Tenusilli, Peter Salou, and Daryl Bagnulo. 2020 appointments. The chaplain is Reverend Fred Preventure. Local Assessment Search Officer is Joyce Santamaro. Tax Search Officer Peggy Keene. Public Defender Jeff Steinfeld. First Alternate Public Defender Joseph Naxon. Second Alternate Public Defender Louis DeAngelis. Prosecutor Mark DiMaria. First Assistant Prosecutor E. Carter Carston. Second Assistant Prosecutor Douglas Doyle. And Township Engineer Mark DeGennaro. Emergency Management Coordinator Sergeant Brian Zivkovich. And Deputy Emergency Management Coordinators Lieutenant Charles Van Dyke, Patrolman Kyle Ferrara, and Robert Shannon. Municipal Housing Liaison and Secretary to the Sewer Commission, both for Robert Shannon. And the official newspapers are the Ridgewood News, The Record, North Jersey Herald and News. The Memorial Day Parade Chairman James Sheehan, Recreation Director Andy Wingfield, Treasurer Diana McLeod, Deputy Registrar Mary Ellen Taffrate. Zoning officers are Fred Depkin, Mark DeGennaro, and Thomas Ginsheimer. Zoning Code Enforcement Official Fred Depkin. Property Maintenance Officer and Zoning Administrator Fred Depkin. Administrative Officers Mark DeGennaro, Thomas Ginsheimer, Fred Depkin, and Maureen Mitchell. JIF Fund Commissioner Robert Shannon and Deputy Commissioner Scott Fisher. Delegates Scott Fisher, Dave Murphy, Tim Brock, Andy Wingfield, Mark DeGennaro, Robert Shannon. Deputy Municipal Clerk Robert Shannon and Municipal Court Judge Russell Tishon. Gardens of Wyckoff Committee Robert Shannon, Tim Brackett, Kathy Brackett, and Scott Fisher. Historic Preservation Commission Secretary Robert Shannon. And CDL Mandate Scott Fisher. Assistant Designated Employee Representative for the CDL Mandate is Joseph Vanderplatt. Appointments to boards and commissions. Zoning Board of Adjustment, Kimberly Evans. Design Review Advisory Committee, Robert Ebel, Maureen Margaritas, Edward Natali, and Jen Saxton. Environmental Commission, Lisa Kober, John Nicole, Peter Melchione, Denise Caporolari, Celeste Homachek, Ben Wiener, and Anthony Riotto. Planning Board, Sarah Caprio, Robert Fortunato, Michael Hamachek, Anthony Riotto, Scott Fisher, Rudy Boonstra, Tim Shanley, and George Alexandru. Recreation and Parks Advisory Board, Jeff Eishin, Chris Bean, Jen Saxon, John Giovacco. Board of Health, Devalina Sen, Lynn Spreen-Raffo, Michael Spirozic, Linda Brock, Casey Culinary, Beth Fisher. Library Board, Lauren DeCourt, Tim Shanley, and Lauren McCarthy. Shade Tree Commission, Glenn Seitzma. Zariski House Board of Trustees, Mark DeGennaro and Jim Abma. And the Gardens of Wyckoff, Robert Shannon and Beth Fisher. Professional Services for 2020, Robert Landell, Township Attorney, Boswell Engineering Consulting Engineers, General Code Publishers, John Lloyd, Special Tax Appeal Service, Elizabeth McManus, Affordable Housing Planner, Matthew Durkin, Public Defender, Mark DiMaria, Prosecutor, Stephen Ide, Land Surveyor, Ray Wiss, Labor Counsel, Gary Higgins, Auditor, Appraisal Consultants for Tax Appeal and Reevaluation Consulting, Bond Counsel, Richard Eisenberg, Residential Tax Appeals, James O'Donnell, Residential Tax Appeals, and Community Grants Planning and Housing, Professional Affordable Housing Administrative Services. We also authorize and establish financial compliance and best practice action for township accounts and tax collections. We authorize purchasing from state, county, and cooperative purchasing systems. We authorize and approve personnel policies and policies for compliance with federal and state laws. We have two ordinances for introduction. 1901, an ordinance to amend and supplement Ordinance 1863 to provide for a certain capital improvement in the Township of Wyckoff and to provide for the receipt, acceptance, and deposit of grant funds to authorize appropriations of $96,000. In 1902, an ordinance to provide an appropriation in the acquisition of 240 Demarest Avenue in the Township of Wyckoff, Bergen County, New Jersey, from the Municipal Open Space Fund. Can I have a motion on the consent agenda, please?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Boonstra?
Yes.
Mrs. Fisher?
Yes.
Mr. Madigan?
Yes.
Mrs. Rubenstein?
Yes.
Mr. Shanley?
Yes. Okay, Joyce, I think you're going to administer the oath of office to our township volunteers and municipal board and commissions.
You want to do the fire department first?
Yep.
All right. Okay, I state your name.
I, Tim Rogers,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the
of the
Constitution
United States
of the United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the State of New Jersey,
of the State of New Jersey,
and that I will bear true faith
and that I will bear true faith
and allegiance to the same,
and allegiance to the same,
and to the governments established
and to the governments established
in the United States
in the United States
and this state
and in this state,
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
so help me God.
so help me God.
And I
And I, Tim Rogers,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully,
that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly
and justly
perform all the duties
perform all the duties
as officers of the fire department
as officers of the fire department
according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my ability.
and that I will not use my office
I will not use my
to
office
grant preferential treatment
for preferential treatment,
nor to seek personal gain,
nor to seek personal gain,
favor, or advantage
favor, or advantage
not available to the public.
not available to the public.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Oh, thank you, thank you. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you. So much. Thank you very much. Happy New Year. So much. Again, thank you. Come on.
Thank you. Thank you.
Are we just gonna say that? It's getting scary.
Thank you. Happy New Year. Thank you. Happy New Year. 15 minutes. Thank you. Right. So,
Yes, can you swear in the boards, the appointments for the boards and commissions? If you heard your name called being appointed to one of our boards and you're here, you can get sworn in.
feel free to step up.
There, I see one. We got
A
another
few
one.
folks.
Yep, here we go. Perfect.
All right, you guys face the audience.
Okay.
You hold the Bible. That be okay? Thank you. All right. So everybody's gonna repeat after me, and after I say "I," state your name, and after I say office of.
Mark?
Oh, yeah, I'm on.
Want Mark or not?
Okay.
You guys want Mark for Zabriskie House or not?
Finance committee?
Do solemnly swear
Do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
Think so.
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the State of New Jersey,
of the State of New Jersey.
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same
I will bear true
You can do it
faith
at the meeting. You can do it at the meeting.
and to the governments established
and the governments established
in the United States
in the United States
and in the state
and in the state
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
so help me God.
so help me God.
And I
And I
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly
that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly
perform all the duties
perform all the duties
of the offices of,
of the office of board member
according to the best of my ability,
according to the best of my ability,
and I will not use my office
and I will not use my
to
office
grant preferential treatment,
to grant preferential
to
treatment,
seek personal favor or gain,
to seek personal favor or gain,
not available to the public.
not available to the public.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, Joyce, we're going to have a public comment period for 2 minutes per speaker for public comment on any governmental issue that a member of the public feels may be of concern to the residents of the Township of Wykoff. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, this is the time if anyone has any comments they want to address to the governing body. Now is the time to come up to the microphone and state your name and your address.
Seeing none, a motion to close to the public?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Thanks, Bill.
Thanks.
Let's give Bill a round of applause.
All right, I'm going to invite everybody back to Fire One for a light reception, and if I can get a motion to adjourn, we can be headed there.
So moved.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye. Right on time, 1:45.
Thank you. Thank you.